ETF launch is a really big deal. I mean, it allows a huge pool of capital that could not easily buy Bitcoin to now buy Bitcoin. So, I mean, to be honest with you, I'll give you the spread. I mean, to my way of seeing end of calendar 2024, we could be at 100, we could be at 300. I doubt we're below 100. I highly doubt that. That's, from 60, that's a 40% move or a little higher. That should be pretty easy, 50% move. That should be pretty easy from here. To their number of 2025, 250, yeah, that sounds possible. There are a lot of models. There are a lot of ways of looking at it. I look at them all, I weigh them all, and then I say, you know what, it's a new thing. I think Michael Saylor said all your models are broken. I think he's kind of right. It would not surprise me at all if it shot up to 250 quickly, but it also wouldn't surprise me if, a year from now we were only at 110.
Bitcoin billionaire and managing partner of Equity Management Associates, Lawrence Lepard, has given his latest Bitcoin price forecast for the years 2024 and 2025. He believes that Bitcoin is likely to skyrocket to around $100,000 to $300,000 within this year, 2024. In fact, he is quite sure that Bitcoin would hit six figures no less. According to the expert, this anticipated surge will be influenced by Federal Reserve policy shifts and U.S. fiscal challenges. As more investors see Bitcoin's true value as a digital asset and a hedge against all economic uncertainty, its adoption will gradually become widespread, leading to an exponential rise in Bitcoin's price long-term. Let us now view clips of Lawrence Lepard as he shares his latest predictions and insights.
Ever feel like you're wasting your money on things that don't really matter? Stop. You don't have time. Don't miss out on this 2025 bull run. Educate yourself now. Don't spend $12.50 on junk. Educate yourself on how to be successful in crypto using our Crypto Cheat Guide. Unlock the secrets of crypto and make smarter investments today. Visit the website now on the link in the description for your exclusive copy. Start your journey to crypto success today.
Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to drop your comment and observations in the comment section below. Thanks and enjoy the video.
Boy, it's a wild animal and nobody can really know. I mean, long term, I'm highly confident that it will continue to outperform and be much higher. And by that, I mean by the end of this year, next year, the following year. Short term, it could do anything it wants. As you know, it's quite volatile. I think what's going on in Bitcoin is just the knowledge, very much like gold. I mean, and I do consider, gold is 5,000-year-old money, it's the soundest form of money ever until Bitcoin came along. And, it's analog sound money. Bitcoin's digital sound money. And I think that what's going on there is you're just seeing more and more people becoming aware of the fiscal and debt problems that the world has and looking for an escape hatch. Gold's one and Bitcoin's another. Turns out Bitcoin has performed better than gold. So, younger people tend to aggressively go towards Bitcoin. But as you point out, it has been correlated with the NASDAQ. It has been correlated with risk on, and it does tend to have pretty wide swings. And so it's not suited for everybody. There are people who, prefer not to have the volatility and they might, and they're looking for a sound alternative. They might choose gold. In turn, if you're looking for the most rapid growth on a performance basis, Bitcoin has clearly been the better choice for the last 10 or 15 years, and I think it will continue to be a better choice. So, but it's come along too. And to me, as I said, I think earlier, these are both the canaries in the coal mine. The fact that they are both up as big as they are, Bitcoin's up 66% in the quarter. Oh my goodness, that's a big number. Gold was up now 13 to 14% in the quarter. That's a good number too. Just annualize those are huge numbers. So something's going on here. The fact they're both up together and the stock market wasn't up that much. Something's going on here. And what I submit is going on is a larger percentage of the world is becoming aware of the monetary problems that are about to emerge because the Fed is trapped. And I think at the end of the day, they can say they're going to go higher, they can say they're going to go lower, they can talk all they want, they can jawbone, they do all kinds of things, they lie about what they're doing. But at the end of the day, if push comes to shove and the choices are do nothing and let the system collapse, or print money and create new programs to accommodate, the system and dilute the value of the dollar, through debasement, the politicians, they will always choose option two, because as we saw in 08, in 2020, in 2019 with the repo blowout, in March of 2023 with Silicon Valley Bank, they are not going to let the system collapse, full stop. They can't. They just won't do it. But what makes it so hard for all of us is they tend to, in the interim periods, they tend to talk tough and, imply that, oh, they've got it all under control and we're going back to 2% and da 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 da. But, again, I think what's going on is gold and Bitcoin are saying bullshit. You guys can say all that stuff. Yeah, we hear you. That's what you're saying for sure. But you know what? Bullshit. We don't believe it. We'll take the gold and Bitcoin. Thank you very much. At the end of the day, the block reward, whether it's 6.25 or 3.125, it's the difference between 900 Bitcoin a day and like 450 Bitcoin. That's not the biggest determinant of demand, in my view, of supply and demand in the market. That's a small number compared to the 19 million coins that are out there. It has an impact, and historically, there's always been a price run after a halving, if you look back historically. So I fully expect we will have a price run. But if you actually also look back carefully, you'll see that in some of the prior halvings, it actually went down for a little bit before that price run began. It took a while. There was like a lag effect for the halving to have an effect on the price. And so it's entirely possible to me that would occur again in this particular time frame. As I said, Bitcoin's a wild animal, and you just don't know in any given week, day, month what it's going to do. I mean, it could go to 50, it could go to 80. I mean, I have no idea. I will say this. I will say this, though. I have great confidence that in a year or two, it's going to be much higher than it is today.
Meanwhile, the head of digital assets research at Standard Chartered, Jeff Kendrick, believes that Bitcoin's value could gain a surge of more than 2x, reaching approximately $150,000 by the end of 2024. This would imply a 127% increase in Bitcoin's price. While Bitcoin experienced an 11% pullback from its all-time high in March, Kendrick notes that this was due to the recent tensions in the Middle East, which influenced the crypto markets, and the slowdown of inflows in the Bitcoin ETFs. Kendrick expects a reversal sometime this year, with a massive surge in investor inflows as Bitcoin gains more traction. With the ongoing success of the Bitcoin ETFs, Kendrick predicts potential inflows of $50 billion to $100 billion over the next 2 years as the market matures. With Bitcoin's recent halving event, Kendrick also points out that these events usually drive up Bitcoin's price to higher levels and newer all-time highs in the following 12 months. Let us now return to Lawrence Lepard as he shares more insights on Bitcoin and the greater macroeconomy.
But Bitcoin's a measure of liquidity, and the NASDAQ is tied to liquidity as well. So it's going to take time for the two to separate. But I do believe over time they will separate. But, if they print a lot more money, I mean, my new base case, I've kind of revised this. I used to think we were going to have quite a big market downturn and quite a big recession. I'm actually, and maybe we will, I'll be wrong again. But I'm now, based on what I'm seeing, I'm now kind of starting to think, you know what? We're actually not going to have that big a downturn, that big a recession. We're going to have a pretty hot economy. It's going to be pretty healthy. The stock market could go higher. There'll be a lot of good things happening with one exception. We're going to have serious inflation. Because they're going to have to grease the monetary skids. The velocity is going to pick up. And with those changes, there's no way you get out of this inflationary trap. And so it's entirely possible that the Fed ultimately starts thinking maybe they have to hike rates further. I don't know that they'll do that. But, as you pointed out earlier, they've certainly backpedaled from a lot of rate cuts to very few rate cuts based on the strength of the economy. And so the new data that we all have, because we kind of all thought there's got to be a recession coming here, and there hasn't been in a big way yet, right? Who's the sucker at the card table? It's the bondholders, right? I mean, look at the TLT, which is the 20-year bond ETF. I mean, I think that thing's down 40 or 50% from its all-time high a few years ago. And sadly, I think it's going to get worse. So, you just, in an inflationary environment, if you go back and look at the 70s, you wanted to own oil, you wanted to own gold because they both benefited from inflation. You did not want to own bonds. Henry Kaufman called them certificates of confiscation. If inflation does what I think it's going to do, the only way bondholders are going to be willing to hold bonds is if the interest rate is higher. Now, I say that, and then I'll add a caveat. And the caveat is, I think at some point the Federal Reserve steps in, realizing that if they let interest rates get too high, everybody and their brother is going to be bankrupt, including the federal government. I mean, the federal government kind of is bankrupt, but it'll be obvious that they're bankrupt. And so what I'm describing, of course, David, is yield curve control. So I think that as inflation starts to become more evident to everybody, the bond yields will start to go up. But I think there's a point at which the Fed will say, we can't allow this to get worse. And so we're going to start buying the bonds. We're going to reinstate QE and start buying the bonds and putting them on our balance sheet. And we're going to fix the interest rate at a certain level, that we're not going to let it go above that level. And that'll lead to a lot of balance sheet growth. That'll lead to a lot of monetary expansion. And of course, it'll make inflation worse. But, you know, that's what they will do, because the alternative would be to let those interest rates go up very, very high and choke everything off, and we would have a big, you know, a big crash. And keep in mind, the politicians are always looking to do, you know, they don't think in 10 and 20-year timeframes what the right move is. They think in terms of what can get me elected next year. You know, who cares what happens after that, right? And so if their choice is have a big collapse and take the pain in order to reset, or kick the can and the inflation's a little bit higher, they always lean on, they'll take the kick the can, but inflation's going to be higher. So that's my prediction that I have a high degree of confidence in, is that we will have higher inflation.
What is the peak price that you anticipate Bitcoin to have for this current market cycle? Do you agree with the experts who say Bitcoin will be no less than $100,000 within this year? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and found it insightful, consider giving us a like, subscribing to our channel, and turning on post notifications to be updated on more of our content. Stay tuned for our next video as we continue to bring you the latest news on crypto and digital finance. Thank you for watching. We hope to see you in our next video. For more daily dose crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.